Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Praying Single Mom podcast, a podcast with the intention of bringing ease to Christian single moms all over the world as we discuss weekly real life issues such as parenting, mental health, childhood trauma, domestic violence, and much more. I'm your host, Lekeshia Cody. Let's get into it. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Praying Single Mom podcast. Tonight's title is If You Think You're Lonely Now. Yeah, we know that song. I'm not going to sing it for you guys, but you know it. If you think you're lonely now, right? Like I said before on one of the most recent episodes, loneliness is at an all-time high. Why? Because we're going into the holiday season, we're going into cuffing season, and this is the time where everyone desires somebody, anybody, anybody, okay? When we think about loneliness, really, it's just a feeling, guys. Did you know that? Did you know that loneliness is a feeling? That in itself is powerful, right? Because it's like, am I really lonely or am I just feeling lonely, right? Loneliness is a feeling of unwanted isolation. You don't want to be isolated. A lack of connection. You don't feel connected to anyone. And it doesn't matter if you're alone or surrounded by others, because how many of you know that you can have a house full of people and still feel lonely? You can go on a trip, on a family vacation, and still feel lonely. You can be surrounded by friends and all of these other people and still feel lonely, right? And so loneliness is a feeling. It's a feeling, right? And so I want to speak to those who feel lonely. You feel alone. And before you click off of this episode or you say, this is not for me, I don't feel loneliness, I don't feel sad, I don't feel any of these things, I want you to stay listening in, because I really want to hit on the fact that sometimes we allow that feeling of loneliness to cause us to do things that we wouldn't have done otherwise, right? And so I entitled this episode, If You Think You're Lonely Now, Wait Until Tonight. Why, because listen, the choices that you make in that moment of loneliness, it can lead to something else, right? And so that temporary satisfaction or that temporary pleasure or that temporary moment of you, quote unquote, feeling like you're fulfilling something, you can end up in the wrong thing, and it can cause you to be lonelier. So that's why I say, if you think you're lonely now, wait, just wait. And so those decisions that we make in those moments are very important. For one, I do believe that we have to get to a point where we enjoy our own solitude, right? We enjoy ourselves. We enjoy spending time with us. We enjoy, being alone. You enjoy, some people can't stand like being in a bedroom, watching TV, just super quiet. And you can often tell those people who can't stand that. They always have to have company. They always have to have someone over. They always have to be on the phone talking to someone, or they're always scrolling on social media. Those people, they haven't tapped into being able to enjoy their own solitude just yet, right? I saw something maybe 2 years ago that said, you have to begin to appreciate going at your own pace, doing things that you like to do. You have to begin to appreciate being in silence with yourself. Do you like yourself? Do you like the thoughts that you have when you are alone? Are you always agitated? If you are always agitated, what are you agitated about? What's on your mind? What's weighing you down? What's causing you to feel this way? Is there anything that's happening in your life that you can cut off? Anybody that you could potentially cut off that's draining you, that's causing some type of mental burden, whatever it may be, right? And so, do you enjoy you? Do you enjoy yourself? Can you watch a movie alone? Could you listen to your favorite music and dance around your house by yourself? Do you enjoy you? Can you make jokes with yourself? And I'm not talking about being psychopaths or anything like that, but I'm just saying enjoying your own space, right? Can you enjoy being alone? I know extroverts don't like it. Introverts, they often love it. But some introverts, they still struggle with, because you can be introverted all day and still not want to be by yourself, right? You can still have a hard time with going home alone, riding in the car alone. You hear some women who talk about fixing their husbands who have not even come yet plates and sitting in on the table. If that's what you're doing, then hey, to each his own. But for me, I'm not going to make a plate for an imaginary husband. I get it that you're walking by faith and all of those different type of things, but no, we're not doing that. How about you just enjoy your own plate? And when he comes, honey, he comes. But just getting to a point where you can even go out to dinner by yourself. You can go to the movies by yourself. You can even go to the fair by yourself. You can go to the mall alone and it not make you feel a type of way when you see couples walking by holding hands, but you get inspired instead. Right? And so, like I said, don't allow this moment of you feeling lonely. Remember, being alone and loneliness are two different things, right? Loneliness involves being isolated despite wanting social connections, where being alone means taking time for yourself between regular social interactions. So again, when you're lonely or when you feel lonely, you're being isolated, although you want that social connection. So you long for social interaction. You long to have someone in your space, but for some reason it's not happening for you. Where being alone, you're actually choosing to be alone. You're choosing to take that time away from those regular social interactions. So if you're choosing to be alone, then 9 times out of 10 you are in a good headspace. Me, there was a time where I looked forward to going home. I think this was right after had to be in 2020, because we were on lockdown anyway. So I know a lot of people did not survive 2020 mentally because they did not like themselves and they had to deal with themselves. They had to deal with being alone. But me, on the other hand, thank God, I was fine with going home, getting me some Chipotle, watching my favorite TV shows. Shout out to Wentworth. I had a time, okay? And so those were just an example of me being okay with spending time with myself. I developed businesses, ministries in 2020 during that time. But I also have experienced the feeling of loneliness, to where I have felt isolated, or I've longed for companionship. I've longed for relationships and connections, and not necessarily with friends. I feel like God has truly, truly, truly blessed me with friends, but it was more so of that romantic connection. And as a result of that, I have, let's see, because I'm always telling y'all my business, but God has been giving me wisdom on how to share and when to share with you guys. But I'm always an open book, and I'm always open to being super duper duper transparent with you guys. But with that feeling of loneliness, what it does is, if you're not careful, you'll begin to accept and allow anything, things that you wouldn't typically allow, things that you wouldn't usually go for. If you're not careful, just because you're trying to fill a void, or you want to be wanted, you don't want to be alone, you'll begin to crave things that you don't normally crave. And so, what I would say to you, if you are in that space, is to count the cost. Count the cost. What is this going to cost me after I'm all done with this? Where is this taking me? Is this going to solve this loneliness that I'm feeling? Is this going to solve or fill this void? Because we know at the end of the day, God is the ultimate void filler anyways. And so whatever voids that you're trying to fill outside of him, it'll never be enough, because he's the only one that can satisfy you. And this is why you often find people or yourself like jumping from relationship to relationship or person to person. And nowadays, guys, we change out people like we change clothes. If it doesn't fit, you're changing the person. If they don't agree with you, you're changing them out. If you get bored with them, you're changing them out. And people don't really want to fight for what they want anymore. And that's why you're seeing so many divorces, and that's why you're seeing so many breakups, because it's so easy nowadays to just jump from one person to the next person. And I also think that people are no longer strategic when it comes down to choosing their person. They're so easy to just say yes to dating someone. All somebody got to do is DM you or inbox you or look at you, and here you go, you're comfortable enough to let them in your space and date them, versus back in the day, you actually really had to have a conversation and get to know someone before you even make that decision as to whether or not you want to date them. But nowadays, it's based off of looks, most likely. Oh, she looks good, or oh, he looks good. Oh, he wants to talk to me. He's interested. Let's go out. Let's go out to dinner. Let's go for a date. And before you know it, y'all are in a bed with each other. Before you know it, y'all are tonguing each other down. But have you built that solid foundation even to begin with, to even determine whether or not this is a person that you like? Is this the person that you would even date? Do you even like them? Do you like their character? Like, what do you like about this person? And so I would challenge you guys who are listening in to just do better when it comes down to be selective. Yeah. Do better when it comes down to choosing the person that you allow to have access to you. Because here's the thing. I think we, in our state of loneliness or feeling lonely, whether it's emotional loneliness, social loneliness, whatever type of loneliness it is that you are dealing with, it could be meant in your mind, whatever it is, we have to be mindful of who we allow to have access to us. Everybody shouldn't be able to get certain access to you. You got to begin to understand that you are a person of value, and people need to earn access to you. People need to earn access to have certain type of conversations with you about your past, about what it is that you're dealing with currently, whatever it is. You have boundaries, and implement those boundaries. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just what I wanted to share with you guys. I did not want this episode to be extremely long. But what I also know is that when you're feeling lonely, or, yeah, because again, it's a feeling, you'll also try to distract yourselves with other things in life. And so loneliness could just cause a ripple effect of everything else. And so identify what it is. Be aware of what it is that you're struggling with, whatever it is that's causing this feeling of loneliness. Sometimes loneliness can try to hit you, especially when you're not being productive in your life. Loneliness can be a result of life changes. Did you have a recent life change? Did you have living circumstances that changed? You know, who are you living with? Who's in your space? Did your living arrangements change? Did your financial problems come to where things have shifted to where you may not be able to afford to go certain places, or you may not be able to afford to do certain things anymore? Did you experience a recent death in your family or with a friend? So there are so many different reasons to why someone could feel lonely, but I just want you to be mindful of it. Identify the root cause. Once you identify the root cause, begin to deal with that. But just try your best to make better decisions in this season. And remember, loneliness is a feeling, and being alone is something that you have more control over. And so I just pray for those of you who are listening in, and even to the woman who goes to bed crying at night, hugging that pillow because you are just so tired of this. I want you to know that God sees you. I want you to know that He understands, and He's close. He's close to you. He's close to those who are broken hearted, those who are crushed in spirit. He's with you. Yeah, the word says that He's close to the brokenhearted, and He saves those who are crushed in spirit. And so even though you do not feel like it in this moment, I want you to know that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And your morning could be in the morning. Your morning could be next week. Your morning could be before this year is out. Your morning could be next year. But whatever it is, I pray that you will not faint, and that you will not give up, and that you will continue to trust the hand of the Lord and understand that He is with you. He is with you, and He's causing all things to work together for your good, even in this. And so I pray that God will begin to comfort you. I pray that He will begin to give you a peace like never before. And I pray that even in this season, to where this loneliness, this feeling of loneliness is trying to overtake you, I pray that you will begin to shake yourself loose. And I pray that God will begin to bless the works of your hands, that He will show you. I thank God for new hobbies and healthier habits that He'll show you, even for some of you who don't know what to do with your time. God is getting ready to create. You're going to create. That's the word. Creativity is getting ready to hit you like never before. You're going to find yourself creating even as the holidays begin to approach. You're going to find yourself creating like never before. And so don't be surprised or think it not strange when you find yourself doing things that you've never done before, creating merch or creating websites, creating stores, starting businesses, just doing different things, because God is getting ready to do something in your season, in your life, that you've never seen done before. And so, Father God, we just bless you for those who are listening in, God, those who will listen in later. And Father God, we just thank you for being God. Because you are God over our lives, and you are the ultimate void filler. Only you can satisfy. And so thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Praying Single Mom podcast. If this podcast episode blessed you, be sure to rate, leave a review, leave a written review, tag us in your story, send me an email to theprayingsinglemom@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. All right, guys, have an amazing day, month, a year. I love you all, and we'll talk soon.